Making sure Dragoon's tech game is on point and didn't even get the chance to in that sequence. Another back air here. Needles, bouncing fish. Is that enough? Yes, it is!
I lied! We're back! And it's gonna be K-Rool taking on Emba starting out here. We saw just a taste of Emba in the beginning, or in the end of the last match, and now Emba is back out to play. The reversal right there with the invincibility, baiting Geo to do something, anything, but Geo holds the resolve, and that gives him another edge guarding situation, another chance to finish off this stock with the up smash on shield with full rage. That will do it.
All three are going towards long. He's going to be able to isolate one. There's one. Can you isolate the second? Now this has become a 1v1. Here's the opportunity that Glitch was looking for. Spike not being held. Oh my comedic. Obviously that's Herd. Has to get on the spike. There's the head. Wait. Quick dash here from Morgiana though to open out this round. One's going to be king.
Okay.
Find one.
Okay.
Find two.
2 full force buys or full buys away from taking it into OT. That doesn't particularly help, nor does that. It may very well be it, though. The fact that he took so long is going to be their Achilles heel, but they will be able to defuse behind that wall. I don't know if it's wall bangable. It doesn't matter. Glitch will be able to find the shot they were looking for.
Coming in as reinforcements, gets a touch as well. There's still one more defender in the name of Troy,
Ooh,
but no
demo.
longer with the demolition. Fired shot from Zernite ties it up. We're trying to see if Zernite can split open this goal differential a bit more. They have made themselves go under less pressure here. Vaudable didn't have 17 shots registered on them, but they might in this game. Number 3.
Does go the perfect direction for Pelosa after they give it off to the other side. They're trying to go for the center. They're trying to go for the bump, but they can't get anything. Grasping at straws, and they have buttery fingers as it goes the other direction, and FIU take the victory.
It's always got that conga line in terms of power and being able to know who's going in first. And there goes Sizer with a 4K, and they're still actively trying to scale this space. Look at his Pristine coming straight on up to Zyza. There's one right behind him as well. Looks like Visor might fall, and that's exactly what happens.
What started out with yet another pristine opening pick has turned into a 1v1 that Anchor desperately needs to win time. Starting to tick, and Anchor will deliver.
Getting that aftershock down. And now we wait! And Mr. Christian! Oh! Henzo!
Damage. Oh, they put the immortality field down. Another coalescence out from Grebka destroys that immortality field. The Maywall trying to play a defensive blockade, but it's just not going to be able to. Both Lucios down. Cammy bites the bullet early on. The Annihilation gets annihilated with the rest of Staten Island.
Now, Primal online, Nanoblade almost as well.
Oh, Nanoblade comes out. Wow, poor Grebka. How many deaths on the board? Doc has gone down. It's a 4K from Chongyun, and it's a very impressive one at that. A wonderful opening from Staten Island for some reason. Okay, I'm back. Blade is going to be coming out from Ice Rare. It does not have a Nano behind it, but it does have a Kitsune Rush. Grebka gives their life for a noob as well as a 3-for-1 trade. Let's make it a 4-for-2 trade in favor of Staten Island. They lose their tank and their support, but Chongyun basically fills the role of the tank, goes for possibly the final fight. Can Doc find anything with this overclock? It's going to be Ice Rare that finds one. Doc does go down to Chongyun as well. Both these Genji's critical condition, but Grebka has fallen. Cringe not far behind, and this should be the beginning of the end for Staten Island. Things are going to be falling apart.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for being here on the Esports U Twitch channel. I am 4x4. That is Sofchan. Together, we are 1.5 Brazilians, and we are very, very excited to bring you CLOL action on this fine Friday night. ECAC action. Penn State Behrend versus Fanshawe. Should be a good one. Penn State Behrend had a bye in week 1, but now playing their first game of the season. Fanshawe 1-0. Soph, how are you? Excited to get rolling on this one?
Oh, absolutely excited. It's a Friday night. We love to do League of Legends on any day of the week, but Friday it's a little spicier. And I really, really enjoyed to see that this is just the beginning of the season. So catching the teams nice and fresh, everything that's going to be on their strategies, it's coming out right now. So 4x4, this game, because Behrend has been a little cold, gotten that first bye, is going to be where they snap things up. And with Fan already having played the first week, winning a 2-1 against JJ, if I'm not mistaken, it makes me think like they're a little more prepared.
Yep, if nothing else, yeah, they should be able to, like you said, get rolling a little bit quicker, right? Default to things that, okay, and especially with 3 games of experience, right? Okay, this worked in game 1, this didn't work in game 2, blah, blah, blah. And most importantly, they took away the victory. They're feeling confident going into this one. And Penn State actually working with a sub as well. So going to complicate things probably a little bit more for them, but should be getting to draft any minute here. So we are on 14-3, but no smolder. That is the crucial difference here. 14-3. It is a smolderless land. And for me, I was playing a little Earth with the boys, trying to take my mind off some stuff, and I got blasted by a smolder. It was not fun.
Oh no, it wasn't fun. Oh, but he's such a sweet little guy.
He's a mama's boy. He's like me. I can sympathize.
He is a mama's boy. Yeah, I agree. And I'm looking at Fanshawe here, starting out with those bans and specifically targeting that jungler. There is so much of Graves play on Yarborough for Fanshawe, for Behrend, excuse me, that they just don't want to get that going. They are very skilled. I think the win rate is on 56% on plenty of games, so getting that out of the table makes a lot of sense. Karma as well has been so strong. You know how it goes in Brazil. And on the other side, interesting to see a Vayne coming through for Behrend.
Yeah, going to take that away from Paradox in the bottom lane, taking away the Seraphine as well. So, I mean, speaking to Paradox's pool, right? Seraphine, you could play her in a few different roles. Karma is, I mean, depending on who you ask, a 4-lane flex. We've seen it in a bunch of different spots as champion. So really, really strong. She's a little weaker than she was before, but still quite the lane bully. And that is the oppressive thing that we have come to see, right? In the bottom lane, lane priority is the name of the game, being a lane bull. That's why Varus is so gosh darn strong. You can play him a couple different styles and still dominate lane. And Seraphine, bit of the same ticket.
Yeah, for sure. She brings out utility, she brings out control. Now taking out that Tom Kench, that means to me that Senna Tom Kench is not going to come through. I don't think they would pair Senna with another thing. I know that there is Senna and Ornn coming through in tier 1, but I'm not sure how experienced these teams are with this composition. The Orianna, as we saw as well, is not going to be played, which kind of makes it, to me, feel like an Azir type of play, maybe a Tristana mid type of play, and the first pick for Fanshawe. Of course, the first blue side pick is a Maokai.
Yep, and honestly, I love that. We've seen that come up a little bit more. That's been coming up a lot more in support these days. You could play it in the jungle still, but as a support matchup, it's really, really strong. Lucian Milio, yeah, and that's become a little bit of another flavor of the month, right? It's not just Lucian Nami anymore, but Lucian, love him or hate him, he is alive and well in the meta.
Yeah, not just alive and well. He's been so solid. I think not just in the meta right now, but last year, Lucian can always be a reliable ADC. You mentioned the Varus. To me, it's a little bit frustrating because I love playing the lane and always having Lucian Varus. Lucian Varus is a little bit boring, but I understand you got to play to the strengths in the meta, and that's what Fanshawe is going to have. I wouldn't be surprised to see that Varus paired with a Nautilus. It's still on the table, which is very, very good. And because that bot lane having the Milio, you can go heavy on engage if you can play well in the early game.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And speaking of engage, Cassante, able to isolate targets, do just about everything. You know the copy pasta. We don't have to repeat it to you. On the other side, it's going to be a Malphite. It's a wonderful copy pasta. Now, this Malphite I did not see coming, Soph.
Yeah, me neither. So it's Behrend themselves who have the substitute. We are thinking and presuming that the substitute is Asian Heat there in the top side, so that could be one specialty of theirs. It makes sense. They want to be a little more comfort because it's a substitute. I think you can't really predict when it's a substitution, but as well, Malphite is just going to be that one front line, and if you want to do AP, you can do quite a lot of damage if necessary. In this case, I just think it's the frontline engage style. The Lucian is already going to supply much of that damage. And now coming on to the last bends, Behrend goes for the Viego, and Fanshawe took away that Lilia. I wouldn't be surprised either to have even more junglers coming through, like a Xin Zhao, but that would also leave the pool very, very restricted for any of the teams to be picking.
Yeah, now it's going to get really, really interesting. The Hui taken away as well. You've seen him in a couple different roles. He is incredibly strong. The range, the zone control you can have, the CC as well. Nico going to be taken away. And I like taking away the Lilia as well. I think that champion is sneakily strong and pairs so well, obviously, with AD mids if you want to go that route as well. I think she's unbelievably strong and very, very slept on. There's a Riftmaker build out there that is just... demonic in nature. We got rid of demonic embrace, but nothing about that Riftmaker build is SFW. I'll put it that way. I'm in your cheese. Gonna lock in that Jarvan for Yarbrough, and you were talking about the Graves, taking that away from him. Graves and Jarvan, as far as how they want to play, obviously extremely different styles.
Oh yeah, and I think considering that the Xin Zhao is not disabled in this time, we know how much is strong at the moment. I think a Lee Sin could work well as well, but the Jarvan match perfectly with the combo style that Behrend looks to be playing for. At the same time, we look at the Sylas. The Sylas is, a Bel'Veth, maybe. But just finishing out my point before they lock that in, the Sylas is just going to eat. That's going to be a banquet of ultimates to steal, and they lock in the Bel'Veth. Okay, so we're trading out the early game that the Jarvan and early and mid game that the Jarvan is going to have, and just going straight in for mid to late game with the Bel'Veth.
Yep, and they've got to get rolling. It's probably going to be, again, we have yet to see for sure, but I imagine Bel'Veth, I'm casting in Brazil, I'm conditioned to Bel'Veth support, but I know that that's not really an actual flex that people play north of the equator anyway. Syndra on the other side, so going to be taking that into the Sylas. You've got a range advantage. How else do you see this matchup kind of playing out? Because, I mean, to me, if you draft a Jarvan and you wait R5 to get your mid lane counter pick, that, for me, for Behrend, that's what I've got circled in kind of the yellow highlighter.
Yeah, agreed. And I think it works well because the Orianna is out of the table. You got to think of something that's going to be stable and safe enough to guarantee that you're not going to be smashed by the Sylas early game. Yeah. But also because the Bel'Veth had already been picked, did you need to be that safe? I don't think it's a bad pick at all, but the Bel'Veth is not going to apply any pressure whatsoever in the early game anyway. No. But... now with the Jarvan, because you have your spheres, because you have the scatter of the week, you can have nice stun setups. That might be what they're going for here on the side of Fanshawe, because this composition screams team fight, but also getting their lead early in the game. If they let them scale, the other side is looking strong.
Yeah, and Sylas, I think it's going to be playing towards the Bel'Veth, right? Getting that rolling, because like you said, that mid and late game for the Bel'Veth is terrifying. But if you can't get her rolling early, she is effectively just a big purple traffic cone. She's just useless. You can't do anything with that champion. But the Jarvan, always going to be equal. That's, I think, what, like you said, the bottom lane that Fanshawe drafted themselves, very, very strong, going to be very, very self-sufficient. But on the other side, I agree with you. This composition, well, actually, no, now that I say that, okay. I think the top side for Penn State, very safe, very easy to execute. Team fight, just kind of, these champions have been around forever. This is very kind of easy to execute. The bottom lane, although that being said, I see Fanshawe having a big, big advantage because Lucian Milio, right? That is another champion. Lucian is controversial for a reason. If you don't get him going in the early lane, he just becomes a little bit useless. And you have to have a carry that has the right kind of hands, the right kind of killer instinct, playing on the edge. Lucian's a short range AD carry.
But I think that having the Jarvan into play, if you can go early in level 2, level 3 to help out the bot lane, that would be so Penn State. I don't know if that's going to be allowed because it's a very readable, very easy to predict kind of play, considering how aggressive the Lucian Milio bot lane is. So I would say the side of Fanshawe is just going to be incredibly safe on all the plays, just keeping track of where the Jarvan is. The Bel'Veth is going to avoid any fight that arrives in the early game, and trying to confirm most of the camps is going to be her priority. She's going to be power farming, and whenever she can do something, I think it would be more towards the mid lane, more towards the top, but giving a little more of emphasis in the mid lane because you can take down the Syndra, a little more difficult to take down the Malphite, but could indicate that this is going to be a more Void grub focused game than a Drake one for Fanshawe.
Yeah, I actually, it was funny. I mean, when Bel'Veth came out, it's like, oh, she's got interactions with kind of the top half, the Void jungle camps, but I actually haven't casted a Bel'Veth or actually thought about, oh, how does Bel'Veth interact with the Void grubs? Do you have any kind of immediate? I'm not to put you on the spot here, but do you have any insights on that? Is it anything out of the ordinary?
That's a great question. I actually don't know the answer, so I'm just going to go for it.
Okay. I'm gonna try to stall. I can sing for everybody. I can do a little dance if we want. No, I'm playing. No, this should be this should be good. For a bit, find out what you can about the Void grubs. But to your point, yeah, I mean, you're probably gonna see Yarbrough pay a lot of attention down to the bot lane, and I wouldn't be surprised if JerryX, right? I mean, and Silas, he's got decent wave clear as well. Push, roam. Could see him really helping JerryX take control of both sides of the jungle on the top side. And I think Yarbrough, again, because he is a Jarvan, he's going to be happy to let control go in his own jungle, because once he hits level 6, once he hits level 2, EQ, flag, drag, it's the oldest jungle combo in the game, and it's been so successful for over a decade.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Give an update.
Let's go. Okay, so I have found out as we jump into Summoner's Rift, again, Fanshawe on the blue side, Penn State, Behrend on the red, is that it's inconclusive. This test has been inconclusive because some people say that something happens, but I watched the video and I don't see any difference. Other things just require me to watch longer videos. That's not going to happen, so...
Well, all right, then we will find out. Excuse me. Tough time to cough there. Yeah, but I do think that, I mean, if I had to predict where the attention would be paid early on, like I was kind of saying earlier on, I really do see Fanshawe, again, just dominating the top side of the map, especially also because Asian Heat, remember, he's a substitute, and he's normally a jungler as well, just go judging from his OPGG. Mm-hmm. So, unfamiliar player, in an unfamiliar setting, in an unfamiliar lane. If I'm JerryX, I'm testing that top side of the map. I'm going to make it work.
Oh, yeah. And I think as well that because you have so much pressure there on the bot side from Penn State, you want to be careful. And even though they're going to be pushing hard, that's like a fact for the Lucian Milio bot lane, you still have to understand that if you go counter, you're still going to die anyway. So sometimes it's just better to have your priorities and your direction into the top side, get all that power farm, maybe go towards the Malphite, as you mentioned, maybe thinking it would be a weak link and then trying to execute things across the rest of the map. We have seen already that both sides have gotten some scouting on the top side jungle of Penn State. So Fanshawe has some vision into the red buff, so they know that they're starting blue buff instead. And look at this. I hate playing against Silas when I'm mid lane, when I'm mage. It just frustrates me.
Yep, you think you got a range advantage, and then he just ease in, and just he can close that gap so quickly, right? And then just with his passive, get the auto resets, and you saw that. And with the electrocute as well, very good rune choice there by LVC or Luke. It might be that might be LUC there. Well, it's LVC, but little peek behind the curtain. His Discord name was LUC when he was giving us information about their team there. But yeah, you can close the gap really, really quickly, and you saw it, right? Took half of Rock's health.
It's insane, and it was only level 1. That is
exactly
just the power of this champion. And we're considering Rock's as the Syndra having the first strike, probably not getting most out of it because still being ranged behind in CS, getting those first hits is not really happening because of that pressure on electrocute that Luke has on the Silas. They're making it work. Oh, bot side, Lucian wants to go aggressive as soon as they get that level 2 on both sides, but now it's just better to control the wave. You don't want to really get ahead of yourself.
Yeah, but applying pressure early on here. No summoners blown anywhere, and as far as CS all over the place, pretty even. I'm in your cheese, getting immediately that level 3 advantage going forward. Omega Boo with a level advantage as well, crashing this wave into Asian Heat's tower, and Asian Heat very low on mana, not looking fantastic for him early on here. But that bottom lane, yeah, so for Penn State, really pressing that advantage.
For sure, and you want to do that, that's what we mentioned. There's just what you can do naturally, so you're not going to avoid having a lead. That's how Fanshawe has read the game, hence why they started bottom side, going out, clearing everything, now taking that Scuttle Crab on bot river, potentially getting some pressure there on the Malphite, least force to flash, trying to get them to go for a quick reset or even a bad reset, forcing them to get a TP around. Could be straight, but Bel'Veth has shown herself in the mid lane, and now both junglers are rotating to the bottom river.
Might get a little some fisticuffs early on there, in immediately, but was it advanced faker? Well, look, obviously that's not who it says it is, but I don't know what else I should go with. And then we've got just a series, a jumble of letters here. That's going to be very fun for me. But Yarbrough going right in onto Jerry X, EQ going right in, and Amir Cheese providing some backup. Jerry X gets a tail slam down and is able to flash away, but Penn State coming out very, very nicely in this trade. Well, I say that, 4 summoners blown though, so.
Yeah, I was gonna mention many summoners blown on both sides, and actually starting out with Faker on the engage. Oh, just hold that.
Luke is just all over Roxrite, blows the flash, and that is going to be brutal.
It really is. Now concurring into 3 flashes blown and both summoner spells taken down. Oh, they're gonna face each other again.
Wow, Jerry X went in really valuing that early CS count and that early stack. Gets first blooded, but on the other side, mid laner Luke bailing out his jungler, getting a 1-for-1 across the map.
That's so good for Fanshawe, because poor Bel'Veth was just trying to do what she can do, which is farm, and then Jarvan said, "Nuh-uh, I have a powerful bot lane, we're going to abuse of it, we're going to take the first blood." That was incredibly important for Penn State, considering the extra gold. But the cross map 1-for-1 is also super important, because Luke didn't even have ulti, so if you're already having that much pressure and kill passiveness, gosh, you can execute the Syndra anytime you want.
Yeah, and it feels like this could get out of control. To your point, like, didn't even have that pressure, right, of the potential all-in with the ultimate. It was just a very good, very fundamentally sound laning phase by Luke, and now coming back with a blasting wand as well, and that crystal. A couple of biscuits as well for sustain. Looking really, really good so far. But Yarbrough on the board for Penn State. Behrend. Gold right about even. Dragon has spawned, but like you said, so it's going to be interesting to see where these junglers go and where they prioritize. Roxrite moving down. Faker and Paradox both have their flash. Well, Paradox has his flash, Faker has his summoner. And Yarbrough going to go right in here. He's only level 4, but he's got a level 6 mid laner on his back. And Amir Cheese and Winter, they could show up anytime they want. And on the other side, it's Jerry X on the Void Grubs.
It was fortunate where the Syndra died before this rotation came on. Ooh! They're really going into this bot lane, aren't they? I don't blame them. That's how they need to be playing. You are going to get burned by those piercing arrows too from Varus. But my point overall is that because of where the wave had crashed from Fanshawe, that was a good rotation that could be done by Penn State's Roxrite, going into the Drake and asserting that you didn't have to take your bot lane into the Drake fight or into the Drake aggro. They could farm just easily, keeping out exactly where they need to be, and especially controlling the wave. Ooh, they miss it, but it's still quite a lot of damage that Silas does.
Yeah, that's still so much damage. I mean, I think Roxrite might have been dead if that combo landed, and now Paradox has to flash away. The Ignite goes down for Faker. Well, that will help get a kill on the way back. It's a 1-for-1 ADC for ADC.
Oh, how did they die? Was it like the second for I'm in your cheese? Maybe? Like buffering while they flashed? Because I didn't see how they died.
Yeah, I think
at all.
I would love to get another look at that. It just
right,
they both
because
died at the
there's
same
no
time.
ignite.
Meanwhile, the top lane. Yeah, no, Mega Boo, he's gonna take a nice little TP or a nice little back here. Asian Heat still does have TP advantage, so that's something going in his favor. Only down 15 CS. Got that Bomby Cinder now, and Asian Heat, he's gonna have to figure out a time to get out of lane here. That Bomby Cinder, that's such a nice spike. As far as a component, builds into so many things, obviously, but provides so much just passive damage the longer you stay in the fight, obviously. And Asian Heat, we'll see if he TP's back into lane if he opts to take the scenic route. He knows he's got that advantage.
I think overall, for the side of Penn State, the read they just had was that they could have done maybe an engage there in the mid lane, but they decided to go for a better reset and allowing Yarbrough to go for the farm, because you can't just stay so far behind. Now the Bel'Veth is gathering around 15 CS ahead. You have to keep it up, so instead of trying to go for the Silas, they can easily escape, even though they have flash. That wasn't the best play. Decide to go for something else. Jerry X, though, wants to get his rotation, are in the fog of war, so this could go into a very nice place with a good Nature's Grasp.
Yep, Faker waiting in the bush, but Paradox does take a little bit of chunk. I'm Your Cheese going forward. That could be the death sentence. That's all that Faker needed. He goes in. I'm Your Cheese pops the flash. Winter pops the heal, and it's not enough. 2 summoners and 2 kills for Fanshawe.
Great work, and it was mentioned Nature's Grasp, and as I said it, I noticed the Maokai was still level 5. Still, they got the kill, so super well executed. But now we're looking at Vebra going into the mid lane, trying again to get at least some pressure on Luke. This could be the moment.
Luke playing very respectfully on the other side of the lane. Just as I say that, wanders over to grab one more CS. Yarbrough, he's got level 6. Want to wait for an ability to come out. What was probably banking on Rocks right, hitting that scatter of the week. But with no dice there and no mana for Rock Drive for any sort of follow-up, he's going to go on his merry way.
Oh, looking interesting again. Luke is looking interesting. Forces out a flash from Rock's right.
I mean, the pressure that he's able to provide is incredible. Now with Winter roaming up here, maybe he goes back in. Luke says, all right, if I'm going down, I'm taking one of you suckers down with me. Pops the Cataclysm, pops right back. Yarbrough able to pop his. Luke going to get a little bit more healing here, but Winter with the Cozy Campfire. Man. That Silas is going to be an issue. So I already know it. I can see him just taking over this game.
Oh yeah, me too. And I think that's why Penn State really needed to recognize we have to go and get our resources here. Because we have a good presence in the bot lane, we can afford going and roaming into the mid lane, because you can spare that amount of CS. You're still controlling things pretty well. And now that the Maokai is level 6, you gotta be a little more careful should the Bel'Veth want to do anything. But at the end of the day, we're still very, very early. There's only one Drake that was taken out, and it was by Penn State. I believe the 3 Void Grubs were taken by Fanshawe, so it's trading out those objectives overall. But a massive lead on kills that Yarbrough has that's not really coming to much effect because of assists, because of power farming the Bel'Veth is doing. I'm impressed. I didn't think it was going to go so well.
No, and immediately onto this Kraken Slayer, and the Rod of Ages has come in as well for Luke, so that mid-jungle going to be really, really tough. Now Yarbrough, he's got to focus his attention elsewhere, right? I mean, there's no way that he could take this mid-jungle too. I mean, you saw the way it went just now. Yarbrough really EQ out of there, but the Nature's Grasp goes in. Twisted advance, bonk, easy as you like. Luke grabbing another kill, and on the other side, Jerry still grabbing more Void Grubs.
There you go. That's going to be massive split push potential. That's going to be so good for Cassante. Look at the amount of platings they've already taken here on the top side. Omega Boo is bullying the Malphite as much as they can, but it doesn't have to translate into kills. They are 105 CS against 76. 4x4, and the amount of plates they've taken, that is so much gold. When they come back to base, that's going to be a finished item for sure.
Oh, absolutely. And immediately with the Twisted Advance, Penn State keeping having pressure on them. Amir Chi throws out the culling. Doesn't really get much. Cozy Campfire going to give Lucian that little extra range, that little extra damage, going in, getting the extra autos, but very good kiting, or peel rather, from Faker on this Maokai. This Maokai support looking unbelievable. 2-0-3 so far.
Yeah, working incredibly well, and we know how much he's been doing well in the other leagues. Mid lane, Luke is not getting enough of this Syndra, but Rock's right, finally having some more mana to sustain the amount of poke she has to deal back on the side. Fanshawe, in the meantime, gets that Drake. So for these last 2 objectives, both were taken by Fanshawe and guaranteeing 6 Void Grubs. Huge for them. Now, tier 1, top lane was taken, and this 1v1 looks like Omega Boo.
Omega Boo in a little bit of trouble here, but he knows that Agent Heat doesn't have mana, so he's just going to be auto-attacking him to death. And I don't know about you, Soph, I'm not scared of any Malphite auto-attacks. Cassante certainly isn't. Goes all out, pops the Ghost. He'll be able to catch up. Pops Agent Heat's flash as well. Good night, sweet prince. Omega Boo on the board with his first kill.
Yeah, it was Omega Boo falling down on health, but it doesn't matter. As you said, those auto-attacks, those slaps by Malphite are not going to hurt a single tiny bit. And they came back through, especially with how much the Cassante can heal back. Just taking that one down was easy. No summon. Gonna force out a TP if that is. But now actually, it's a TP coming from Luke in the mid lane to get a hold of those minions. And overall in the board, we have 24,000 for Fanshawe against the 19 around now, 20,000 for Penn State Behrend.
4,000 gold up, 5 kills, like you said. The Dragons have been split, but 6 Void Grubs to 0. That's really what I'm looking at. And I mean, the item disparities are well, actually, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. But on the other side, I mean, it really looks like your only win condition here for Penn State. I mean, it's just going to be Yarbrough kind of just wandering all over the place. And I think you got to get your bot lane back into this because Rock's right. Damage is really coming from. Asian Heat, he's going to be a bit of a one-button Boris, right? You know Malphite, why you're there. You are there to ult, start fights from creative positions, and that's about it.
Yeah, it is. Oh, mid lane, Luke wants to go in. There's another dodge. Nicely done that by Roxrite. And now Jerry X meeting Yarbrough in that jungle. They are ready to fight now.
Yes, they are. Yarbrough not able to land the flag and drag. Just Jerry X just autoing him to death. Very good spacing there with the tail slam. And now the ultimate's coming out of the bottom lane, and the not going to be enough. Breath of Life, not going to get anything. Double kill for Yarbrough, or for Jerry X, excuse me. That Kraken Slayer hitting like a truck. I'm in your cheese. Got to get Jerry X away from anything else here. But just laying waste to jungle camps, enemy champions. You have it.
Yeah. Everything now is Bel'Veth's, and especially with those Void Grubs. Whenever she decides to go for split pushes and aggro and siege, she can really do it. Now, considering in this case, of course, the Varus goes for lethality instead of a non-hit build. She's the one dealing the auto attacks, the fast ones. Now topside, Omega Boo could get engaged, but it's still a Cassante. They can fare well against 1v2, but can they against 1v3?
Well, let's see. Rock's right. Able to land the scat of the week now. Asian Heat following up here. Has the unstoppable force. Should he want to use it? EQ was missed. Goes all out. Takes a tower shot. Able to get out of the Cataclysm. There's the unleashed power. Very nicely done. And Rock's right. Getting a sorely needed big shutdown into their pocket.
Oh, that's huge for Penn State. You want to have that for your main carry. At this point, as you mentioned, the Lucian has fallen a little bit behind. Not that he's not going to keep on building, but the big spike was the first 10 minutes, now on 15 minutes. And now Fanshawe taking out the Herald. Penn State is looking to be in a very, very poor place.
You are in the wrong neighborhood, buddy. I mean, that feels so bad because Yarbrough, he was in the wrong neighborhood, but it was his neighborhood. So very, very recently, unbelievable Cataclysm, able to cancel the EQ from Yarbrough. So things are just coming up all Fanshawe right now. Penn State can't catch a break.
No, they cannot. My God. And I'm very impressed as well with what you mentioned there, the spacing on the Bel'Veth. We're looking at that ulti, right? The Cataclysms canceling the flag and drag on Yarbrough. That was just so good, and it's massive knowledge, especially as a Silas player, because you not just have to know how to play with yourself, hey, hold on, yourself. Nothing happened here. And you also have to know how to play as your enemies, so.
Yeah, no, you got another thing or two. Yeah, absolutely. Now, Jerry actually taking this 1v2, able to get the slashing around him going, not able to land anything else, though. Cozy Campfire can provide a little bit of security, and crucially, that Breath of Life, that Milio ultimate. We've seen it be used a lot, but so this has not been the game plan for Penn State right now, and I really fail to see how, if we're talking just scaling here, as the dives keep on coming, Yarbrough able to get in there and play some defense actually, and force a flash there out of Paradox.
Yeah, you are point, but you're still a Varus, you can't expose yourself. Yes, the Maokai is now 2-0-5. There's so much of kill participation for the side of Fanshawe's support. But you are a Varus. Remember, you're an ADC, you are squishy. And you can't have your front line being yourself. So the Maokai can protect you just as much. Now topside, Omega Brew again, just really bullying it out for the Malphite. 50 CS ahead, getting pressure on the turret. Now this tier 1 bot side could be taken in a second too. But there's a 4-stack already for Penn State as the third Drake. And now, of course, the Mountain is going to be the Soul. Ooh.
Oh, very nicely done. Flash EQ, Cataclysm in. That's going to get a kill, but Omega Boo might get one back here. It's the W. There with the twisted advance. Luke, meanwhile, on the other side, just killed Rox right under his tower. But they're going to get another one here. Fanshawe on the board again. Omega Boo taking down Yarbrough. It's just coming up all Penn State stuff. And again, what I was going to make earlier, the scaling on this composition really, really favors Fanshawe, especially because they did what we talked about in draft, which was get this Bel'Veth ahead. You've seen she's just bullying her way all around the map.
She really is. She's ahead on the farm. She's ahead on that presence. The amount of times that Yabra unfortunately has died there for the side of Penn State, 4 times is huge compared to how the Bel'Veth is at the moment. If we had a look at gold for every lane, it would be incredibly different. Look at that. It's almost 1,000 gold ahead for the Bel'Veth. Mid lane, almost 1,000 as well.
Well, don't look
Bot
now, look
lane,
at top lane.
1,000, everything. Oh my god, it's double. It's basically double in the top side. And things are looking super dire for Penn State because they were built in a composition for early game. And you said Fanshawe just has the better scaling. This is not looking like a late game play for Penn State.
No. At this point, you got to just start throwing yourself at the wall here, right? But it's unfortunate because this is what separates good. This is part of what separates good from great teams, right? Is when you're behind, you just got to start throwing stuff at the wall. You got to see what sticks. You got to take chances because at the end of the day, if you just do nothing, you're going to bleed to death, especially against a composition like this. And we saw Penn State try to do that. We saw Yarbrough get that flash EQ. That was very well done. But immediately, Fanshawe responded. And by the way, Luke just got a solo kill in the mid lane. So it's that what do they say? Prehab is the best rehab, right? Like setting things up, getting your house in order beforehand, so that when things go down, even if something doesn't go your way, you're in position to counter press. Right now, Asian Heat has to ult out of there. My goodness.
Yeah, the unstoppable force defensively. And I agree with you, for I think the biggest point here for Penn State is that they have been trying to play it well with the resources that they have. So we saw a big rotation for the bottom side, trying to contest and guarantee that second Drake, but they really couldn't do it. They are lacking the damage, they're lacking resources, and unfortunately, they really can't get behind the HP bars. Now on this Cassandra that has swapped down to the bot lane, even the Silas, especially the Maokai and Jerry X. Like, what is this Bel'Veth doing is just huge for Fanshawe.
Winter goes down. Yeah, popping the Milio through ult, through flash, through heal. It's just a easy. Jeez Louise. From behind. That is absolutely brutal. Luke, out of nowhere. They're going to rip through this tier 1. And they're going to start knocking down the base's door. So
one thing that we mentioned on draft was how great the Silos was going to have in regards to stealing ults.
Oh, yeah.
But we saw how they have been doing from level 1. They did it level 6. They didn't need to steal anything. They're just winning on the Silas's kit alone. And that says a lot about the player and how the team has been coordinating that play. So Jerry X knew they had to go for power farm, guarantee their lead. And even if the bot lane had to be a little more safe, sacrifice some pressure, some presence, it was fine for the greater good that is having this jungle and mid lane just so fed.
Yeah, well, and I mean, I knew, like you said, I've played in mid lane against Silas's, and it's pretty clear kind of from level 1 just on how they trade if you know you're going to have a rough time or not. Well, you can't cleanse a knockup, but I'm your cheese. Able to get out somehow. Very nice cozy campfire. And now with the unleashed power, got a kill back there onto Faker. Blew his flash as well.
Okay, if there's a way for Penn State Behrend to get this game back on track for them is getting those kills for Fox right. They are doing it. Now, whenever you have, I don't know exactly if I have a look here, whenever we are Andra, we could try to gauge how the stacks are for the execute she can have on the unleashed power. But at this point right now, she has to just keep trying to get those final hits. They're defending, pushing 4 people here onto the bottom side, considering that demolition there on the Mega Boo has pretty much destroyed the tier 2 bot lane. Yeah. You are looking at just scarce resources.
Yeah. No, and they're getting scarcer and scarcer by the minute, to your point.
Poor Grum.
Oh, jeez, what are you doing there, buddy? Boing, 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 boing. He goes back.
He bounced. It's a Zac.
Yeah, it's a little Zac. Jerry X able to gobble up yet another Void Grub. Yeah, 50 CS lead here in this one. Rock's right has to flash away. It's just so tough. There's so much lockdown in this composition as well. Yarbrough had to burn his ultimate. Asian Heat showing up, but with no ultimate. Let's see how many Luke can take down on his way. Jeez Louise, that culling did nothing. That's just a Seeker's Arm Guard and a Doran Shield. What are we doing? It took so much to take this Silas down.
Oh yeah, but it was just a diversion 4x4. Look at your base getting destroyed.
Yep.
Penn State, that your inhibitor bot side, gone mid lane, just close to gone too. When did that happen? We're only on 23 minutes into the game, getting close to a soul point for Fanshawe. Gosh, they really drafted a composition and knew exactly how to play it so well. I'm not sure if this was the kind of composition they had in the last week, first one of course for ECAC, but if this is new or not new, they need to keep it up. This is not broken at all, just keep it as it is.
Yep, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And nah, from top to bottom, been playing really well. Been impressed with T1 Faker on this Maokai pick as well. Here comes the TP though, Omega Boo. Able to get towards Yarbrough. Didn't have to burn his flash, but did burn his EQ, and now Asian Heat might be in trouble here. Winter says, see ya, buddy. I know I can't help you, so I'm going to leave you to die. Okay, get the flash out. Get a little bit of shield on. Now just trying to posture around this Behrend. That's kind of all you could do, is just stand there menacingly as your Behrend gets taken.
Yeah, that's all you can do. How that Belveth is going to melt it, and now it's just one person trying to defend it. Omega Boo.
All right, let's see about this Cassante moment. It's 1 against 3. Amir She's able to get onto T1 Faker. And now the TP. Here comes Rock's right. Stolen! Oh my goodness, he swiped it. Yarbrough on a one-way trip, but it's going to delay the inevitable here as he grabs the Baron. But on the other side, Rock's right does go down. An ill-fated TP leads to a double kill, make that a triple kill for Luke. It's probably going to be a quadra. Someone's going to get it here. It's just a matter of who. How do you like that trade, Soph?
Oh my god! Amir Cheese. I'm just looking at Amir Cheese using everything, dashing out, flash, everything they could have done, and they still got caught by Nature's Grasp. This is a game 1 taken by Fanshawe. Just close enough. Look at this Velvet. That is insane. Still, kudos for Penn State on stealing their Yarbrough, going out on very calibrated smite. But now 1-0 up is in this best of 3.
Yeah, I mean, there isn't a lot to say about that one. Like you said, look at that Belveth, look at that Silas, right? I mean, that mid-jungle was absolutely popping off. Incredible work by Fanshawe to go up 1-0 here. Just a really comprehensive front-to-back victory. Hats off.
For sure, because it's not every team that feels so, that feels so much composure, right? Fighting against the Lucian Milio, fighting against the Jarvan. Bless you, by the way.
It's tough.
It's super tough, and they did it because you have when you recognize you have a team that has to scale, you have to play accordingly. And Penn State actually tried. They went in deep, trying to steal, invade, get that pressure in the bot side. But then when Belveth was unlocked, it really just made things collapse around the board, but mainly the Silas. The Silas was already winning the lane from level 1, and that says so much about this player, because you can bully the Silas if you play well on the Syndra, but the Silas was really overcapping.
Yeah, it just seemed like Luke knew exactly kind of the trade patterns that they were looking for. You know, sidestepping around certain abilities, baiting certain abilities out of Fox, right? Getting her low on mana, getting the Syndra low on mana, and then just knowing how to punish, right? Weaving in the auto attacks. Just really peak Silas gameplay here. Soph, I don't have a lot more to add on this one. And what do you say? We go to a break, then we take it to game 2?
Yeah, we shall. And looking at game 2, everyone, you can watch it always on Esports U. You can catch the ECAC action, so stay tuned. We're going to be right back.
Welcome back to the Esports U Twitch channel. I am 4x4. That is Soph Chan. We had game 1 between Penn State, Behrend, and Fanshawe. And Soph, it was a tough one for Penn State. It was a bit of a blowout for Fanshawe. They ran all over them on all phases of the map, but we did see some good things here and there. And I unironically want to start with Asian Heat in the top lane because, like we said, he got subbed in last second, got put on Malphite duty against Cassante as a champion that can do a lot of very silly things, and he held his own. And, you know, the rest of the map kind of fell apart around him, but he did his best. And you saw you saw Penn State try to get back into the game with some picks, with some aggressive plays. They didn't just, turtle up and wait to die. They didn't just roll over and just,
Yeah, I was glad to see that Penn State was really trying to get things going because, as you said, things were really just falling across the board from the very early moment of maybe 5 minutes, especially with the Silas. There was a very good attempt that guaranteed, if I'm not mistaken, Penn State the first blood going and invade. So you get the advantage from the Lucian Milio plus Jarvan in the early game. They utilized that very well. But then when they tried to do more of it, the Bel'Veth was power farming ahead in CS. The Silas was getting 1v1s, out farming the Syndra.
Yep.
As you mentioned as well, the top lane, the Cassante was very much out farming to the Malphite, getting pressure onto the tower. So much of those platings were the gold overall from those were in the top lane. So many of these things were difficult. And I would say that every player on Penn State was really trying to do as much as they could in a determined manner, right? They had one idea. This is how we can play. We are behind. We just have to use this as an advantage to see how we play the next one. So far, nothing has changed on the draft.
Yeah, which I found interesting. We were talking off air. We said, how many of these picks that dominated things from Fanshawe do you think we'll see target banned, right? Something like the Maokai potentially, or the Bel'Veth, or the Silas, right? I mean, it's a lot of tough ones, but with the sides being switched here, right? Something like if it gets let through a Karma or a Maokai, for me, that's what I'm looking at. Because again, you want to, if you have a B1 strong champ, you can flex it in a number of different roles. Grab that while you can.
Yeah, and for Behrend, they decided to go for the same ban so far. Fanshawe was banning Karma on the third ban here, so we'll see if that's going to come through. I agree with you. If it isn't, I think Behrend should guarantee this one for them. Fanshawe decided to go for the Lilia. They had also banned in the first game. We'll see what's going to be the big priority for Behrend because... Okay, we talked about if they could deny it with picking out the mouth. I'm happy to see that.
I think that might be like the first time I've ever predicted something before a draft and gotten it right. I've been casting for a few years. I think that's literally the first time I've ever done that.
Hey,
so I feel good about that.
I'm gonna buy you a little cupcake.
There we go. Cheers to that. And on the other side, that's what we got. We got the Karma. So it was not... Yeah, so that is what we're going to be getting. And again, you can flex that a couple of different ways. I imagine we'll see it in the bottom lane. Look, Ezreal still really strong here. Maybe you just grab your bottom lane. But the Varus, tried and true. It's a lane bully. That was like the one thing we didn't see was Paradox really pop off. But he didn't have to, right? He's on the strongest champion on the patch. And guess what? The rest of the map went great for Fanshawe. So just sit back and auto attack.
It's true, and it's not because we didn't see like many of those flamboyant plays that we saw from Silas and coming out from Bel'Veth as well. It was still a 13,000 damage Varus out damaging all of Penn State. So it says some, and what it says to me is that it's a very, very good champion, that it was utilized well considering it was lethality, it was dealing damage, it was getting those arrows through, but... yeah, the biggest of highlights were definitely the Bel'Veth plus the Silas. That, funnily enough, are not out of consideration. Though Behrend decided to take 2 of those champions out, getting that Cassante as well.
Yep, so grabbing the Cassante this time for Asian Heat, so we'll still be on the same side here, but Winter will be piloting that Maokai instead of Faker. And now we got, on the other side, yeah, we got, for Rocks, right, seeing what they're going to grab. I imagine you grab yourself an 80 carry, yeah, because that just seems to be kind of how drafts are going these days. But like you said, that jungle is still there. So we'll see once we get that back going there. We did get that Graves immediately banned out, right? I was hoping we could see some Yarbrough Graves, but we might have to wait until game 3. We might have to wait just a little bit here to see the rest of draft once we get that back up and running. But so still kind of seeing, more of the same, right? It's the same, the similar OPs in the bans, right? And a couple of target bans, but so far kind of the same here, right? The win conditions are remaining pretty similar. You got some strong bottom lanes. You got a Cassante. It is what it is.
Yeah, it really is. So I think the Silas came in a second round. Wasn't it the last pick? I think it was the last pick for Fanshawe, at least.
Yeah,
second to last.
B5, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe 5 or 4. So I think this is gonna come through again. Doesn't have to be the Silas, but it's going to be most definitely them prioritizing mid lane. I would say it's still interesting that Penn State didn't take out either the Belveth or the Silas, but because they wanted to go for the first side Maokai and then into the Cassante, I think that has some coverage, right? You're denying some of those picks. They are just remarkably powerful in the meta at the moment, so it makes sense. But there's one thing with denying the champion. That is, we just saw Fanshawe play them exceptionally well. Are you going to perform to the expectations? Are you going to really deliver what the champion can in the meta? Because it's not just because it's going to be busted. We are in 2024, and 2024, most of the champions, they are strong, but they're not ridiculously broken.
No, exactly. You still got to know what you're doing, right? I mean, we talk about it with the Lucian, right? These are carries that you've got to be able to know when to go in, when to go backwards. Something like an Ezreal, right? Things with self-peel, like a Tristana, right? You really have to know your way around the champion and know the limits, right? Know the trading patterns and know kind of when to punish certain abilities being up or down. And it seems like we've got that in these AD carries, right? Like you said, to have such an unspectacular quote unquote Varus game and still dole out 13,000 damage, more than the Belveth, we might add. We praised the Belveth, we praised Jerry X. Belveth just did 8K, right? It really wasn't, as far as damage is concerned, all that big of a game. But as far as the pressure that Jerry X was able to provide, timing the invades well, working well with Luke, with the Silas, right? Getting that mixed damage, bruiser, brawler, 2v2 going, and getting draft going as well here. Brand in the Brungle. Okay, now this is something that is, really, really strong here. They're going to give Yarbrough, look, you couldn't get him on the Graves, but you're going to give him something that can have him put his carry pants back on.
Yeah, shrewd. I think I've seen this brand somewhere. Let me have a look at those OPGGs once again. Maybe on this side. No, actually, not many of those. Yeah, I was mistaken. Not many of those, so that is interesting. Now locking for Fanshawe, the Yone, okay, and a Misfortune coming through as well as a Ben. Now Behrend said, okay, mid lane is arriving. The moment for R4 and R5 has arrived. No Silas. I would say here, no Belveth again. He was incredibly strong. I think Yone is super good too, but I'm looking at Fanshawe and thinking, what's the deal? What's the deal with the Misfortune? What's the deal with the Samira? Let me have a look at their picks here. Are they big picks? No, yeah, actually, Armor Cheese, yeah, those are the top 2 at the moment for Armor Cheese. Yeah, that's just targeted bans. There you go.
Yeah, yep, these are straight up target bans. There you go. Jerry X grabbing himself the Viego. I was looking at Yarbrough's brand statistics this season. 1 in 6, so not had a ton of success.
14%, yeah, you're right.
Yep. So not a ton of success on the champion, but we'll see. Rakan, honestly, grab the Xayah here. You gave yourself no late game insurance last game for Behrend. I would love to see that. All right, yep, Xayah Rakan, really, really strong. Yeah. Rakan is extremely strong. He's a slippery little bugger, and he's my favorite support to play besides Bard. Even that, Bard's more fun. I do better on Rakan. Rakan is just a little bit easier to play. And on the other side, it will be Luke on this Victor. So they saw something that I didn't hear, because taking away the Silas after a Yone is locked in, to me, I think Yone mid, but Yone in the top lane, that will be, in fact, what Omega Boo will be playing into this Cassante.
It's funny because we were thinking about that brand for Yarbrough right in the jungle, but then you have the Maokai. Yeah, it's gonna be Maokai top then. Okay, that's what has been locked in. All right, that's interesting. Wait. Cassante mid.
Yes.
Is this already
Wait.
in order? Is this production? Tell me.
Look,
Is this in order?
I think it is because it's like right, Zyra Khan and the brand. I don't think it's gonna be Maokai mid.
Yeah.
So I think it will be Maokai top. Okay.
Okay, out of the box. Yeah.
A little bit.
Definitely for starters, but as you said, there's the bot lane is just so reliable, having both of them being the best duo for each other. At the same time, the karma went through for Fanshawe, and we saw how much the Varus was already doing for Paradox. So karma is going to enable it super well. The Viego was banned in the last match, so I would presume that there's been quite a lot of gameplay for them on it. Let me have a look. Yes, it's their main. Aside from Graves, that's the main. It's on 48 matches, 58% win rate.
Well, there you go. And we saw what Jerry X was able to do on the Belveth, create a lot of pressure, work with the mid laner very, very well. I think you're still going to see attention paid over to that top side. That Yone and Viego is going to be really, really tough to deal with. And again, you know, if you want to pick on the sub, that's where you go. Get Omega Boo going, get this Yone going, and get Jerry X snowball. And once he hits that crucial level 6 power spike, it's going to be really, really tricky to deal with. On the bot lane, though, Faker and Paradox going with a little bit of a different look in this bottom lane, but extremely oppressive. This Varus karma is really, really tough to deal with in lane.
For sure. Oh, that was actually close. I am uncertain. Once upon a time, the only champion that could take out the ward immediately was Leona, with her auto reset with Q and then auto again. How is it nowadays? I'm not sure. The other champions that can do it.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, Leona, I think still can. I confess that she's a champion I also love to play, but I have not played her this season just yet. But I don't know.
She's good. She's reliable.
Yeah, maybe Nautilus, if you can auto reset with your W.
Possibly. Yeah.
Maybe,
possibly.
but it's a little bit slow. But either way.
Anyways, just a fun fact coming through here. But yeah, both sides now looking a little bit different. I would say Fanshawe is more aggressive in how they're going to position these wards whenever they do decide to go for it. So instead of pushing it much further, we're looking at Omega Boot taking out their passage on Vision there for the blue buff. And that's going to be a big difference between what we saw on the Belveth and the Brand. I would say I think the Brand can have more damage and more pressure in the early game than it did.
Yeah, and I think, sir, I think probably the raw damage output might be a little bit higher, right? It's a little bit easier to execute as well, right? Belvet's a bit of a wrinkly brain, a little more wrinkly brain champion than the Brand, right? The Brand's been around forever. Played that in some Earth today, a lot of fun. But yeah, but I'm interested to see how this mid lane matchup goes here. We're going to see Roxray really have to earn their keep here. And again, talk about a matchup that you can abuse the range on. Luke, again, with this death ray, playing this pretty nicely.
And of course, and now Luke, because of being that range, they have the first strike, and that's going to be so powerful to them. Compared to playing against the Silas, this is going to be much easier. Look at how well they can punish Roxray on that Cassante. And you're still using less mana compared to the Syndra, right? You're always wanting to get those Qs down as the Syndra, and we saw consistently that Roxray in the last game was running out of mana, so they couldn't really effectively abuse the range and the poke. They were just trying to farm, but this time around, Luke is in the ranged champion, and they are executing it well. On the top side, there's already been said that was a very, very fast reset from Omega Boo, taking the cull and walking back to lane because of how long Asian Heat is going to take to clear out that wave on the top side.
Interested to see how he manages it as well, because that's frozen in a pretty nice spot. So in theory, you would love to keep that there if you're Asian Heat, to keep that in that spot. Not that the Viego is the most capable ganker in the world, but with the Hallowed Mist there, you can make things a little bit annoying to deal with, working around Vision and whatnot. But Omega Boo, yeah, you'd expect him to have all that pressure. as this laning phase goes on. Yarbrough sitting right on a ward, and Faker knows that, but still wants to stick around here. Gets a shield on himself, puts the tether down, and forces a flash out of him as well. The Ignite went down as well. Jerry X in the building, so that means that it's time to fight. Or at least that's what Fanshawe would have wanted. Flashes over into the queue. Yarbrough's in some trouble. Gets the stun down. Gets some damage down as well.
Wait, flash
goes over the
forward?
wall. There's no way they get this. More flashes. First blood. Second blood. Everything going up Fanshawe.
Oh my god, 4x4, this is kind of similar to what we saw in the previous game. Penn State trying to be proactive in the first kills of the game. Last time, managed to do it. This time, not quite. And especially with that amount of summoner spells used. You have Flash on Yarbrough, both summoner spells on both bot laners. Things are looking like PSB can get ahead of themselves, but FC just knows how much damage they can assert, and they're taking advantage of it. Great rotation by Jerry X.
No, very, very well done. Right place, right time. Ready to tussle. Absolutely. And I mean, I think that little ward probably did a lot of work, because I confess I wasn't looking at the minimap at that point, so I don't know whether Jerry X was pathing down there. But, I mean, you've got the chicken still up, and he just finished his Krugs, so maybe he, I mean, it stands to reason that the initial clear was bottom to top, but midway through, Faker put that ward down and said, hey, Jerry X, get down here, buddy, right? Because Yarbrough was standing in that ward for a long, long time, and now he's just going to take his lunch money, and by his lunch money, I need his grubs.
Yeah, this lunch is it's a little different currency, but it's what they take in the void. Already on 3 for FC. Fanshawe getting so much pressure with a rotation one. Faker 2, flash forward.
Going forward there, gets the tether down. Jerry X. We've seen this movie before, so if it wasn't as ugly last time, but Jerry X on the board with 2 kills. Stop me if you've heard this one before.
This is even worse because Viego can do so much more than the Bel'Veth at this point. There's mobility, there's so much of that raw damage that the Bel'Veth needs on the items to scale. Winter misses it, and there's gonna be targeted by the turret. No, 4x4. It might be 2 kills, 1 less auto. Oh,
doesn't even need it. From downtown, Paradox cleanses beautifully, plays the dive very, very well, and is able to get a kill back. Look. Sometimes it's just not your day.
Yeah. It sure looks like that for Pete. Unfortunately, they are trying to get these plays going. They're being so proactive, but they're not connecting. And there's a level of micro and execution that Fanshawe has been portraying since the last game that has really shown through, especially on that dive. It was just the Varus alone. It was a good call for PSP to try to take them down, but then just by confidence in your dodging skills, they managed to do it and get a double. Good God, that went well. That went well for FC.
Yeah, and now up 3,500 gold. Luke is in some trouble here. Has to flash away. Well done by Roxrite. Knowing the limits of their champion, didn't even go all out there. Just a very well-placed combo. Jerry X making his presence felt here with the Harrowed Path. He's able to get full prio. Dragon number 1 will be going to Fanshawe, I think.
It looks like it. While you have Yarbrough going for the invade instead, they're going to need some of those, considering how behind they've gotten themselves. 36 CS compared to 59 for Jerry X. 2 deaths compared to 201 for the Viego and Fanshawe. This is a moment where the Behrend has to recognize, yeah, they did have some damage in the beginning of the game, but now they are falling behind and they have to power farm to get back on track, try to find breaches in these side lanes, especially here in the mid lane where you can try to find something onto the Victor. Not having flash is the right moment, but I'm not sure if they can execute it before the flash comes out.
Yeah, Yarbrough still holding on to that Dark Seal. I mean, look, the brand can do a lot of damage. You've got your late game insurance in the Xayah, right? We really haven't seen Your Cheese be able to perform in these late game team fights. I mean, just being on the Lucian and getting the game kind of taken away from you in the early game. He didn't get to play League of Legends that game. Not really. He and Winter had a little bit of fun there with the Lucian Milio, but it was just like, okay, this is like, get dived on simulator, right? If they could open up the practice tool and say, okay, if I get dove, how do I play it, right? What combos can I figure out? And they just drilled that over and over again, except it was not a consensual thing. They didn't open up the practice tool. Penn State Behrend just said, actually, this is what you're going to be doing for the next 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's what was happening in the mid lane as well. It was 1v1 after 1v1 after 1v1, and look, just really abusing that Silas to its maximum potential. Now, this bot lane is all of the pressure for Varus and Karma. We know how well they do together as a poke lane. Now there's Luke as well coming through, trying to get some damage, but instead, because they're not that Silas, they don't have that much mobility. Still, having controlled that wave pretty well in the mid lane, there's not much to lose.
No, he got a very nice push beforehand, dropped a pink ward down, and knew that, look, even if, everyone else is accounted for, and if I run into Yarbrough, I'm probably just going to slap him around. So he feared neither man nor God on his way to the bottom.
Yeah, nor elementals, whatever. What is Brand, by the way? What is he?
Edgelord? I don't know.
He's definitely an edgelord. But now PSB trying to take it back, at least getting the Void Grubs. It could be denied considering that we have Jerry. No, actually, I just got the sides confused. No, it's Fanshawe confirming the 6 Void Grubs uncontested. Oh man.
Oh man is right. And now Winter going in. The field goal is good. He didn't get anyone with the battle dance, but there he goes with the quickness. Ignite goes down, flash down as well, but the Feather Storm not going to find anybody. Yarbrough, if he can get some sort of WQ or an EQ down, but it's not enough. Couldn't get the CC down.
That's very nicely done though. BSB almost headed, but now there's mid lane action.
Now Rockstrike might be in some trouble here. Got the knock up, goes all out, is unstoppable, except unless your name is Jerry X. Very stoppable. Wow, in the bottom lane. Had to pop the cleanse there. Wait up in your cheese. No, just auto one more time. He had it.
What a
couldn't execute it. Oh my goodness. Fanshawe.
Oh my words, that hurts. It's not just the damage, it's your ego. This bot lane has that ego bruised because they really thought they could take it down, but it was instead Paradox and Faker that were baiting it out. Oh my god, they were really trusting the shield on Karma. It's very tiny at this point, but it was enough. Good god, and it still forced out not just the flash, but I think the ghost from I'm in your cheese. That's both summoner spells down for this PSB bot lane. They're trying. I think this is the best that I would ask of them. They are in a very rough spot, but they're still trying these proactive plays. I think this is super respectable.
Yeah, it's weird because it does. For some reason, it feels like this is almost better for them. Like some parts of this game have felt better, but I couldn't really tell you exactly what because the scoreboard certainly doesn't reflect it. Now Omega Boo and Luke in this 2v3. This is going to be kind of your litmus test. If Fanshawe can win this 2v3, it might be time to go to bed and we try again next week. Paradox grabbing himself another kill there. Omega Boo doesn't have a lot of health, but he does have flash. No ult, use that to get away.
Whoa.
Luke laying down the damage with the death ray. Jerry X has 3 kills and a Kraken Slayer and a head full of steam. He wants no part of his side of the map. He's trying to get all up in Penn State Behrend's business, and now looking for the dive, trying to cancel the recall. If he can get it onto Rockstrike, gets the W down. Shut down finally for Winter. Penn State on the board, but at what cost? It is a slaughter in the top lane.
1 versus 12. Now Fanshawe getting themselves on almost 10,000. 9,000 gold ahead. That is insane on 12 minutes of game. There is at least 1 reset, 1 recall that was taken. Now maybe this Cassante could take it. 2v1.
CC chain onto Omega Boo, but Luke is just like Ben Franklin in a thunderstorm, kiting him just mercilessly. There's nothing he can do. Asian Heat throws out a sapling, but he's got no flash. He's got no ult. He couldn't get in range for the twisted advance either.
Oh no, the potato couldn't do it. I was for sure thinking that it was going to at least follow along, but the potato didn't even think there was somebody around. Good lord, PSB positioning themselves for a Drake, getting a TP in the back line, so they want to be safe about how they go about this. Varus, very unbothered, it's fine. FC can afford to let down this one Drake. There is more of those platings that Varus could take in the meantime. Last of them to be more precise, and with 30 seconds to go on those platings falling, that is so much gold that FC has accumulated.
Yeah, you can spare one dragon when you are up by this much here. Asian, he'd actually get a pretty good trade down here despite Omega Blue being 2 levels up on him. But Fanshawe, they keep on marching in. Winter not able to land his initial CC, gets the quickness down, the tag there onto Faker with the ignite down. Doesn't matter because he shields himself, and Yarbrough just gets taken down from a mile away. Very nicely done by Paradox.
Oh yeah, and this game, there is one difference. I think Paradox has been allowed to really show their potential. Oh, cancelled here. But look at that. 6-1-3, 133 CS against the 98. And, well, that is the wrong side of the map, buddy.
Yikes. Yeah, can't be in there. Not with the lead that your opponents have. And your jungler, specifically, right? The guy whose hood that is. You are not welcome here, and they're going to make sure you know that. Fanshawe, look, really impressive here. Jerry X clearly knows his way around to carry jungler. This is very cool stuff. In an age where we're not seeing really like hard carry junglers in the meta, but he looks just extremely comfortable in this team for Fanshawe. They look just really well coordinated. Omega Boo with the Yone and the Cassante, 2 different styles of champions, but can play it very well. Luke with a range control mage, and with the Silas with a bruiser, played both with aplomb. I'm very impressed from what I've seen from Fanshawe. This is my first look at him, and I'm liking what I'm seeing.
Yeah, me too. Now PSB, I also enjoy how much they're still being proactive, being under incredible pressure. Now resetting that. Oh, did they? Oh my god, it forced out the flash. They are terrified, and to be fair, with good cause, that amount of damage being able to be dealt by Jerry Axe, by Luke, by Paradox, even by Faker on the Karma is just huge. They have to be aware of how they position themselves. There are objective bounties should they get any of those prizes. But 6 Void Grubs, look at how fast they take out the turret.
Oh man, Winter, he can't buy anything, but he gets 4 with the quickness. He goes Omega Boo with the Fate Soul on or with the Fate Seal. My goodness, just gets the AD carry, and that's going to be all she wrote. Blew the flash, blew the gulls. Winter blew the flash as well. Jerry X somehow stays alive. Gets just enough lifesteal on the chickens. Gets that lean protein. Gets himself right back up to a respectable HP. And down goes the tower.
Well, Fanshawe came out on top. Of course, that's undisputable. But how well Winter played here is incredible. That quickness, as you said, getting 4 of them on the charm. That was a knock-up, if I'm not mistaken, too. Coming back, it almost allowed Yarbrough to really connect the damage on the brand, getting that passive going and stacking the ulti on each other. It was super close. If this could have happened earlier for PSB, maybe there would have been a chance. But we're standing on 14,000 gold ahead for Fanshawe. That had to be like some massive slip by FC for PSB to be able to turn back around. Look at this. This is just bullying. There is no space on PSB's jungle that they can actually be in. Flash over the wall. I don't even care.
Man. Yeah, Faker, yeah, like you said, with that, the Malignant's Karma is still really potent, right? Again, it's not as Astro broken as it was last patch, but it's still really tough. 3-0-7 for him. He's been all over the place. And yeah, how about Paradox, right? We talked about it a little bit that he didn't really get a chance to shine last game. He has done more than that on this Varus with the lethal tempo build, right? It's not this poke Varus. It is a very kind of it's the AD carries Varus, right? The AD carry purists. This is what they love. If you're a right-clicking Ryan, this is what you love.
And it works out so well because last game is not just about the how many tanks and how many squishies there are for you to decide if you want to go on hit, if you want to go attack speed or lethality. It was also the fact that your jungler was a Belvester. You already had so much attack speed and ranged, like kind of like an ADC on that champion. You don't need to go attack speed on your Varus either. So we're looking at a lethality build right here. The damage is going to stack for Paradox. They're trying to go, and they might even take them down. Luke takes one back and could survive. They do not. Wow.
Asian Heat got the shutdown. Okay, not sure what that was by Jerry X. Just yeah,
scaring him away. Just scaring.
4-man siege here. Going in. Winter gets a little bit of CC down on Shelly, but that'll be all she wrote. 1 dragon to 1. It's going to be a Cloud Soul. I don't think it's something tells we're not going to get there, Soph, all the way to Soul territory, but the next dragon will go over to Fanshawe. 15,000 gold lead at 18.
And I was going to mention as well, for there's there's one thing being this much ahead when you're in late game, right? It's already doomed, yes, but how many times do you see a Shelly being summoned 18 minutes in a tier 3 and almost taking it down? Huh? How many times do you see it? Not many. And that's just because Fanshawe has executed that composition to a T. They are doing so much damage. They knew how to control their early game. And unfortunately for PSB, those lanes were getting abused and they didn't find a way around how to circumvent it. And FC is not allowing them to have any time to grow. Hyper carry Zaya, I don't see it. Hyper carry Brand, I don't see it either. Because there's just not enough time for them to get the resources.
No, they've been shut out of this game. And I mean, like you said, just lane to lane. Everyone's down in a full item on their counterparts, right? I mean, 15,000, right? Spread over 5 players, 3,000 gold each. Every single player has enough to buy a full completed item, more than their counterpart. And now they're going to take Behrend on spawn because that's just the kind of game that Fanshawe's have.
Yeah, they can do it. There's no contest. We're looking at a Brand in the bottom side of the map. You can melt this objective on spawn, as you said. It just feels so satisfying for a team when you can take a major objective on spawn. And you get to do it, especially when you have a Yone already on the bot side. The Victor now split pushing too, so it would be a 1-3-1 sort of composition for Siege. And I would love, I know we're getting a little spoiled because we're used to tier 1, cough cough, but I miss a power play, Baron buff power play gold ratio.
Yeah. Yeah, no, well said. Behrend down mid lane here, while Omega Boo is going at it in the bottom lane, taking down Asian Heat, just taking that now Flame Horizon matchup. Good lord, you've never seen an 80 carry get deleted that fast at the hands of a Viego. I mean, and now just takes his inventory and he's just going to auto attack this tower to death with the Void Grubs. So they might end here.
Yeah, I think this is it.
Yeah, it's
There's
over.
no reason why he's not here. There's both towers gone. There's both inhibitors gone. You didn't even need the super minions. It's just you and your grubs, you and your Baron buff. Oh my word. FC really did a trick on PSP, now winning on 21 minutes and 25 seconds.
That was a quick one. Yeah, we did not get the 3-game slugfest against JJ that Fanshawe put on for the fans last week. But you know what? Look, GG's to Penn State. Again, you saw kind of some bright spots here and there. You saw what they were trying to do. And like you said, it wasn't like they just let themselves die. They didn't roll over in either game. They tried to make things happen all over the map. But Fanshawe, man, I mean, it was just, like you said, they played to their strengths. For me, this was, okay, we know that we are going to out-hands you, so we're going to play champions that, if they get ahead, are going to be impossible to slow down. Like you said, they just did too much damage. This was a solo queue team comp from Fanshawe, and it worked brilliantly.
Yeah, it was. Gosh, and you mentioned it, is it goes from the macro, how the team has been coordinating together from what we saw in this matchup, but how they are playing in the micro, the dodges, the flashes in, just confident that you can take the enemy down, because you can, because you know how much damage your champion does, because you have knowledge of those boundaries and capabilities. It's very important to have those down, and I think PSB felt short on this this specific scenario, because they were going in, they were super proactive in the early game. They were trying to get the knock because they had good champions for it. The Rakan can get good setups. It was the Jarvan in the first game, but still they were lacking the damage. So it kind of feels like they didn't really know how much it could be done. What are those power spikes for each champion, the items here and there, and what the enemy was playing. And it was definitely hard to overcome. Still, GG's to PSB for fighting really hard, and FC with such a swift game.
Yeah, it was 2-0 for Fanshawe. They take it. Week 2, they're going to move into I think 6 points now. 3 points for a win, none for a loss. So moving into, if nothing else, a tie for first place. And Penn State, yeah, first again. first game of the season. They had a bye last week. They were working with a sub. We will see these guys back and stronger in the future. Soph, any parting thoughts before we let the good people go on with their Friday night?
Yes, I actually do. So I'm having a look at the post-game stats.
Okay.
And funnily enough, from what we saw in the last game where we felt like Paradox didn't have much of a place in regards to those shiny, very rambly, flary positionings and pop-offs, this time around, we thought the Luke was a little bit quieter, but they still popped 19,000 damage.
Wow, you're right.
19,000.
Funny how that works,
compared to the Varus, it was 10,000.
Yeah.
And we still thought that the Varus was doing so incredibly well with the build. It felt like it was doing so much more damage, but it was still Luke that was asserting most of it. And on the other side, the brand wasn't doing badly. They got the 12,000 damage. In the previous game, if I'm not mistaken, the Lucian also popped the 13 damage. So PSP has a lot of qualities in store. Now they just need to get that practice going to understand the matchups better, because it's a tough competition. FC really shown to be to deserve to be on where they are right now. So I think this is what we have for this week. Anything on your part?
No, well said. No, I think it was good of you to bring up the damage numbers. Yeah, and how the eye test and even what we were seeing and kind of the KDA, right? That does not tell the whole story. Not even close, right? All stats in esports and traditional sports, don't use them by themselves. That's not what they're there for. They're there as pages in a broader book. There's your that one's free. The next one's going to cost you. All right. That'll do it for us. Soph, thank you so much for being an excellent color caster. It's a joy to cast with you as always. Big thank you to Leighton, Colton, on the rest of the Esports U crew. For everyone that I've mentioned, I have been 4x4. Again, Fanshawe 2-0 over Penn State Behrend. Thank you so much for being here, and have a great rest of your Friday night.